Hi folks, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates. I have a video that I'm sort of lit up for, so be ready. You know, we have about 4 million views on our channel and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of comments. And most of the comments are either good questions or sharing of one's soul. Some of them are praise for the speaker, but every once in a while we get one that presumes to teach the teacher in a very arrogant and a very superior tone. And they actually might be making a decent point, but if the arrogant, dismissive tone comes out, they're on my YouTube station for about 30 seconds. I have no tolerance for it whatsoever. However, when the tone is dismissive, arrogant, and superior, and the person has no fucking idea what they're talking about, that's when I get lit up. So I do have a message here that is really important. I don't think this person who made this comment is unusual. I think it's systemic in our culture. I think it's systemic in the Narcissistic Abuse Syndrome Recovery YouTube world. I got something stuck right here. I want to clean it up. Peanuts. So the title of this video is Recovery Responsibility is Not Victim Blaming. Taking responsibility for your own recovery and having a YouTube speaker or a therapist suggest that that might be a good idea is not victim blaming. So I am going to share with you today the most important paradigm that you'll ever have an opportunity to learn. This is more important than any paradigm shift that you will ever learn. I guarantee you that. I'm going to share you the truth about love. I guarantee you that this here is the truth about romantic love. You can't find anything more true about romantic love than what I'm about ready to say. This video can change your whole life. I believe that the Narcissistic Abuse Syndrome movement has been built solidly on victim mentality. And I understand why it might be, because there are so many people who are being slaughtered emotionally. Just before I was slaughtered emotionally, days before I was slaughtered emotionally, I made some videos called The Slaughter of Trust. When you're being slaughtered, when you're being traumatized, when you're being shattered, when you're being gaslit, when you have complex PTSD, it sure as hell feels like you've been victimized. It don't seem fair at the time. But if you're going to get better and you're going to take control of your life, you need to shift your focus off of making a study of narcissism. You don't need to study narcissism. You don't need to be an expert in narcissism. You don't need to know everything about a narcissist. You got to have the general picture. Here's 10 flags of what a narcissist is. Add that to your own experience, you get everything you need to know. But most of y'all get on these videos and you spend 90% of your time studying the friggin' narcissist and 10% of the time working on yourself. It should be the other way around, my friends. It should be the other way around. You need insight into whom? I just made up a word. You need insight into your own self, your own unresolved childhood issues, not a course in the nature of friggin' narcissism. Stephen Covey, he said, you want to help somebody quickly? Then change their paradigm. Change how they see the world. Change how they think. When you have a faulty paradigm, you're heading in the wrong direction. You're lost as a goose. You don't have a freaking clue. So here's the thing. A true paradigm, the best paradigm when it comes to people, their relationships, their marriages, it's not, when I have a couple sitting on the couch, I don't see two people. I see four parents, and I see 8 grandparents, and I see their children, and I even see the grandparents' parents. And once I study all those folks, then I'm able to share some insight and some truths about the nature of the marital problems. In the Bible, twice in the Old Testament, it says, the sins of the fathers shall be visited upon the children and upon the children's children. I'm sorry, folks. I know I'm preaching, but I'm stirred up. That doesn't mean that God is out putting curses on people. Far from it. We put a curse on our own children by our sins, by our dysfunction, by our brokenness. It's the human condition. So let me tell you what victim blaming is. And let me tell you what it ain't. Victim blaming, there was a recent, it was HBO, did a dramatization of the Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill debacle. I believe that Anita Hill was telling the truth. I believe that that woman has a great deal of integrity. I believe that she experienced victim blaming. This recent woman or two that came up against Judge Kavanaugh, I believe that there was victim blaming there. You know, if you're working for the local school and there's accusations like they're made against Supreme Court justices, the people lose their jobs. But in the goddamn Supreme Court, they get elected anyway because they're busy blaming the victim. It frosts my cake, I'll tell you what. So, you know what? Who gets blamed as a victim would be a rape victim. You get raped and you go in and then you suffer all sorts of humiliation and gathering the evidence. You go to court and the defense attorney or the defense attorney will rip you apart and be ruthless in doing so and blame it all on you. That's victim blaming right there. But in adult relationships, in adult romantic relationships, there are no victims. There are no victims. How many victims are there? None. Ever. In the history of human time. Are you understanding what I'm saying? I had made a video. It was one of these on narcissistic abuse is spiritual wounding, and some knucklehead got on there and he's like, duh, I think he's blaming the victim. I'm sorry for the sarcasm, but I'm pissed. I didn't even finish reading the comment. I had that thing off of my YouTube channel in about 10 seconds because it was an unenlightened, unintelligent, not helpful statement. And I just have no tolerance for it. The truth is that we who've gone through narcissistic abuse, we were profoundly, horribly, debilitatingly, viciously traumatized. Y'all watch my videos. I know as good as anybody how that feels. But none of us were victimized. Let me ask you this. This romantic partner who victimized, who picked them? Did some evil narcissist entity come in and assign your narcissist to you? Did they put a gun to your head? Did they command you to marry the person? Were you required to stay 13 years? Or did you choose that? Which one was it? You thought at one time this horrible narcissistic individual, you know what you thought? You thought they were smoking hot. You thought you wanted to jump their bones. Let's just get down to it. You not only thought they were sexy, you not only chose to have sex with them or marry them, you chose to stay with them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 57 years. Whose choice was it? Did you have a choice? Whose choice was it? So how in the hell is it that other person's fault when you picked them and you said, I do? In my previous video that I got lit up, I encouraged everybody to read the book Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix. You'll find more insight into the human condition by reading Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix than you'll find on the top 10 narcissistic abuse gurus videos combined. There's precious little real life-changing insight going out from these folks who are making a lot of money, and I don't really think they're helping that many people, because anybody who doesn't point you to your family of origin is a quack. I don't care if they're Sam Vacton or the Spartan Life Coach. If they're not supporting you or pointing you directly at doing work on your family of origin issues, they're quacks. And they're smart guys on one subject who cannot help you. They can't help you. They know about narcissism. Narcissism isn't your problem. Your problem's your mommy and your daddy and your granddaddy and your grandmommy. That's where your issues lie. Your childhood. And until you get busy focusing on your childhood, you're just going to be an educated person who feels re-victimized over and over and over again. And all that education about narcissism not going to help you one lick. So another resource is go to our channel, Family Tree Brand Life Coaches on YouTube, and look up the playlist Uprooting Victim Mentality. And watch about 250 videos until your eyes bleed and your ears bleed. And maybe the sweet spirit of the universe and of the Spirit of God will shout in your ear or whisper in your ear and tell you a little something, brother, sister. I'm telling you, there's things to be learned. There's things to be learned that a lot of people aren't learning. So here's the deal. Let me explain it to you. Open your mind. Please open your mind right now. I know I've been shouting at you, but I'm going to... If you have an open mind right now, I'll prove to you that I'm right. All right? Okay, so here's the deal. Mother Nature is all about healing. We tell doctors who come in, y'all are great, but y'all never healed anybody. You take the bad stuff out of the body and you put good stuff in, and then we just lay there. We used to lay in the hospital bed, but now we lay in the hospital bed for 20 minutes and they drag you home and you lay in your bed at home for 3 weeks or a month, and your body heals the body. Okay? Mother Nature very much so would like to heal the deepest wound in your soul. You know who you really are? You're a wounded, abandoned, sad, tearful little kid hidden deeply in an adult body. Did you know that? That's who you are. So here we are, the typical individual. They have wounds from their childhood. Mother Nature has a plan. What we're going to do, Mother Nature says, let's wall them off. Let's don't freak out little kids. It's not time for little kids to deal with deep, dark shit. Let's put the walls around. We want the little kids to be in denial, grow up, get the hell out of Dodge. You understand what I'm saying? The second agenda, Mother Nature, wants this to stay in put all the way through your 20s and about halfway into your 30s, because Mother Nature would like you to fall in love. And when you fall in love, you become enmeshed. I'm going to draw it for you. You become enmeshed like this. The two circles together. You get all googly-eyed and you write poetry. You talk all night. You have really hot sex. You think you found the greatest person in the world. And you did. You found the greatest person for you. But the truth is that you're going to marry an assassin. Their job is to make you totally freaking miserable. So I'm telling you what Mother Nature's agendas are. Take it easy on the kids. Dope people up so they'll fall in love, get married, and have them some babies, propagate the species. There's another agenda. Guess what it is? This person right here with all the walls, I'm a great therapist. I really am. Since I've been through narcissistic abuse, I've gotten better, and I'm a gifted therapist. I really am. But this guy right here, guy or gal, I can do nothing with him. I guarantee you, all I'm going to do is piss them off. They might file an ethics complaint against me by the time I'm done with them, because I'm going to get after them. I tell people, you got one or two options. You're either going to learn something, or I'm going to chase you out of my building. Now, I don't really care which one it is. I prefer not to chase most of my clients out the building. I don't know it'd be very good for business, but my job is to tell you the truth. And if you don't want to hear it, don't come in and don't plunk money down on my table and ask for my time. If you do that, I'm going to give it to you. I may use the scalpel, or I may go out back and get the jackhammer. And you don't want me after you with the jackhammer, because this person is untreatable. They're too walled off. Okay, so Mother Nature developed a mechanism to soften you up, to break you down, and to make there be some holes in the wall. You get some holes in a wall, and you know what happens? You start to bleed. And when you start to bleed, you become human. And you also become teachable. And you also become motivated. You also are able to know who you are. You're that wounded little kid at the core of you. You're also able to trust the process, and you're anxious to do the homework. This person is highly treatable. Guess what mechanism Mother Nature used to turn you into a walled-off knucklehead into a therapy genius? The pain of marriage. Every one of us, our sexuality is calibrated by the wounds of our childhood. I wish it weren't so, but I guarantee you it's an immutable law of nature. You weren't born with your sexuality. You didn't pick your sexuality. However you were wounded, that determined your sexuality. And in midlife, the truth comes out. The bomb is dropped. You run out of gas, or somebody blows up the building, one or the other. So, now there is one little caveat. The vast majority of people marry their type. Who's your type? Your type is the parent who hurt you the most. If it was your dad and he was an abandoner, you're going to pick an abandoner. If it was your mom and she was an addict, you're going to pick an addict. Your gender and your parents' gender has nothing to do with it. It's all about who hurt you the most. So most of us marry our type. Some of us, they get to be 18, 19, 21, 22, 23 years old. We're so scarred and sensitive, especially if the person who hurt us the most is controlling and critical. And you go out on a date with say you're a guy, you go out on a date with a woman who's controlling, critical, ain't going to be another date. Ain't going to be date number 2. See ya. What somebody like this, wounded by a controlling, critical, narcissist, or counter-dependent, you're going to pick the nicest, sweetest, kindest, most adoring, prettiest codependent woman who'd marry you. And she's your anti-type, and it'll be fun for 7 years. And then after 7 years, you're going to be busy raising 2 or 3 kids, and you can feel the distance shifting, you can feel the milk souring, but usually nobody's heading to divorce court because you're busy raising little kids. So this message right here, it's really important. It's the truth. Every single person on the planet should understand the meaning and purpose of romantic love. You marry your parents. You marry the people who hurt you the most. If you marry a narcissist, guess what it means? It means that you were raised by narcissists. Some people say, but I wasn't raised by a narcissist, Mark. I was raised by somebody really nice. In fact, our family gets together every Sunday for dinner. And nobody's moved more than 10 blocks away from each other. And, you know, we're almost to 40 and nobody's gotten married yet. That may not be a narcissistic family, but it's an enmeshed family. So, I'll challenge anybody out there, if you have an open mind and you want to find out why you picked narcissist and you can't figure it out, hire me for 3 sessions and I guarantee you I'll spell it out for you. I'll put my finger exactly right on the problem. The problem might be 2 generations from you or 3, but I'll find the problem. I'll dig it up and I'll make an argument to explain who you are and where you came from and why you married who you married. And I will prove to you that Mother Nature's plan is redemptive. What's Mother Nature's plan? Not to really make you miserable. Ultimately, the long game, Mother Nature wants to heal you. So what I've recognized is I was really blessed by growing up in a family of bipolar disordered, borderline narcissistic, abusive, hurtful, unattached, unattuned, abandoned, sent to orphanage. That's my family story. Food addicts. Because I've been blessed enough to live through it and to be traumatized by it, then I can tell you all about it. This is gold. This right here, all y'all at home, when you watch this, you should write me a check for $1,000. Say, Mark, I was watching that video. That rascal was worth $1,000. Here's your check. If anybody does that, I'll let you do it. Make checks out to Family Tree Counseling Associates. We'll put it right in the bank. So what I also know is the experience that I had in April of 2015, where I got sat down and told the truth about who I was with, and I was traumatized, and my hand shook, and I cried all the time. I had pain in my chest, had panic attacks. It couldn't work. I ruminated constantly. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I lost 53 pounds. It was nightmare. Doesn't even come close to describing how horrible it was. I could still feel it. But you know what? The experience was a good thing for me. It was both the worst thing that ever happened to me and the best thing, because the reality of who this woman was became my instructor and my teacher and my healer. The truth is, this woman was a carbon copy of my mother, and I'd been trying to work on my issues for really, in terms of my adult life. I've been in therapy from age about 28 until age 55. Age 55. And I did the best I could. I worked the hardest I could, but I didn't. Truth is, I didn't get a lot of work done. But from age 55 until age 60, I got more work done in 4.5 years than I had in the previous 25. Why? Because I got destroyed. I got traumatized. I got narcissistically abused. I got shattered. And I'm so grateful to the woman who was the delivery vessel for my shattering. Because she, in terms of my personal growth, she's the best friend I ever had. She's the best teacher I ever had. Pointing people back to their family of origin and having them take responsibility for their own recovery is not blaming the victim. Amen? It's telling the freaking truth. It's telling the truth. And what's the truth going to do? It's going to set people free. I get so many messages from people who've got a hold of this paradigm shift, the most important paradigm shift you'll ever hear. and it eliminates victim mentality, and it helps people to heal from the core wound, from the wounded inner child. And then people get healthier. We don't want to just have an army of wounded, unresolved issues from their childhood, but they're highly intelligent on the subject of narcissism. It's almost worthless, I'll be honest with you. It's not what you need, it's not what will set you free, and it's really not the truth. There's a lot of truth in it. They're not telling lies. They're just talking about the wrong subject. The right subject is you. The right subject isn't quite as sexy as talking about narcissism. Man, the money I could make if I just made videos on narcissism. I think I could live off the YouTube royalties, because people sure do like watching videos about narcissism and what stinkers they are. And I made some of those videos in the beginning because I was exploring that topic. But if you count the number of videos through the years that I've directed people to their own issues versus talking about narcissism, it's probably 90% of them are, let's work on you. So don't ever let anyone tell you that the responsibility for your narcissistic abuse is anything other than the person that you glare at in the mirror when you get up in the morning. That's the cat you got to worry about right there. That's the cat that'll get you. Don't worry about those other cats. If you take care of this cat, you're going to be good. Deal with the man in the mirror. Deal with who you are and where you came from. Heal the wounds of your childhood. Work through the intergenerational family muck and mire and curses that's passed down from generation to generation. And break the cycle and have your kids leave home significantly healthier than you did. And we'll throw you a ticker tape parade. I warned y'all that I was fussy. Listen, if you haven't joined our YouTube channel, please join and subscribe. You'll be notified every other Tuesday night. We do a live show. You could send messages in and talk to me and to Jerry and sometimes to Renda, and we'll answer questions. Also, visit familytreecounseling.com. I have 6 books that I've written. One on abandonment, one on shame, one on marriage counseling, one on counter-dependency, one on the basics of recovery, and one on affair recovery. All the important things that people come to therapy for in their late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s. All right. I do love you guys. And I do hope that this has spoken to you. Sometimes the door's jammed and it needs kicked in. And then you get in, and that's a good thing. So I hope it's been helpful. God bless.